Hi friends, this is Sushil here and welcome to my YouTube channel Be Finovative. Today we're going to discuss about mutual fund, how they work, and who should be investing in these mutual funds. So let's get started with today's discussion. So what are mutual funds? This is a very familiar topic for everyone, and most of them would have heard about this particular term, mutual fund. But have you ever thought how this works? So these are actually the diversified, professionally managed portfolios of securities, okay, by the fund managers. We give our money to a specific AMC, that is asset management company, okay, who is backed by a particular bank or a trustee or a sponsor. So we give a money to these people and they receive money from different investors. So it becomes a pool of money. What they do is they do the analysis and they come up with their findings and they invest our money in those assets. By investing in those assets, they generate returns. So this return, a portion of that returns is given back to the investor. So if you see this figure here, so the investors pool their money into the AMCs, that is asset management company, and they will have a fund manager. So every fund will have a specific fund manager who will be taking care of that particular fund and its portfolio, who in turn will invest in securities which will generate returns and is passed back to the investor. So this is a workflow of a particular mutual fund. Okay. So the benefits are that we don't have to much worry about where they are investing. We don't have to do any analysis about the stocks that they are investing. The only thing that we have to worry about is how our fund is performing and how our fund manager is selecting the stocks. So it creates a situation that it diversifies our portfolio. There might be so many assets which we may not be able to directly get involved into, right? But in those situations, these big institutional players, that is the AMCs, have a very easy way of getting those particular assets in their hands because they have so much of money pooled in from different investors, and it's really easy for them. For example, if you're not able to invest foreign equities, but instead if you go through mutual fund, it becomes very easy for you to grab a portion of the share in any of the international equity shares, right? So that's one of the advantage. Next thing is that you will get tax benefits. So if you're taking any tax saving fund, mutual fund, you are even eligible for the tax benefits. Okay. So who should invest in mutual funds? So people who are having lack of knowledge of share market. So if you're not having enough knowledge about the share market and how the equities work, then you should not be directly getting involved in equities, but instead you can approach the mutual fund house and you can take mutual funds. In that situation, you just need to understand the fund that you're going to select. Okay. So second point is a lack of time. So we are all busy in our work life and we don't have much time to spend for analysis. So for a person with such a situation, mutual fund is one of the best ways to generate returns. Third thing is that better exposure of international market. So we may not be able to directly get into the international market, right? So so you may not be able to get a demat account where you can buy shares from the United States. So in such situation, it's best that we invest in mutual funds which has better international exposure and we get better returns from that fund. Okay. Next, why should you invest? So mutual funds are always a very long-term vehicle. So you can have multiple goals. One of the most important factor in the mutual fund investment. If you don't have set goal, then I would say that mutual fund is not for you. So my personal suggestion is that if you're going to select a mutual fund, it should be for 7+ years. So that the market's complete cycle is taken care and also you get a proper returns. So if you have plans, for example, child's education, which is a very long-term plan, medical emergency, where you can opt for a particular liquid fund, retirement goals, yes, aspirational goals, for example, house or foreign holiday. It's a very long-term plans, right? Okay, so those are some of the cases which can be met over a very long period of mutual fund investments. So there is a big saying which says that for a mutual fund, you should start as early as you should. Okay, and for equity shares, it's not about entering early into the share. It's about entering at the right time. Okay, so what happens is in mutual fund is that the earlier you enter into mutual funds, the better chances of you for you to get better returns. Okay, so the most important part in mutual fund is that you should have patience and you should have proper discipline. So the patience talks about the time that you're going to stay invested in mutual funds. So the longer you stay with the mutual fund investment, the better chances are for you to get a better returns. Okay, second point is discipline. So I suggest to start SIP. So if you are planning to invest in mutual fund, I would not ask you to go for lump sum amount. I would recommend you to go for systematic investment plan, that is SIP. So the second point is discipline. You should be very much disciplined to make sure that your SIP amount is deducted every month from your bank account. At any adverse situation, please make sure that your SIP is not stopped. Why I'm saying this is because even in worst situation, when you continue to do the SIP, whatever units you are earning from that particular adverse situation, that is going to play a very important role in your compounding returns in future. Okay, so please make sure that you have enough patience and you have proper discipline while doing the SIP mutual fund investment. Okay, so now let's consider a situation. Okay, we have a inflation, okay, which is suppose it is 5%. So whatever expense you're doing for your family at the current rate, okay, maybe consider it's around 30,000 per month you're spending. Okay, over next 20 years, the current 30,000 rupees might extend and increase to 80,000 rupees per month. So that's the inflation. That's a 5% inflation can bring to your lifestyle. Okay, so that's the time. Okay. So next point is consider savings that gets eroded. So currently, if you're making 30,000, that might get reduced to 11,000 over 20 years. Okay. So the graph between expense and the savings is going in two different directions. That's because of the inflation. Okay. How do we make rich actually? So investors needs to save regularly into assets, right? Because unless we save something into our assets, we can't reach our goal. So we need to have a proper plan about how much you're going to save every month. Okay. So when talking about returns, generating returns, if you see for the past couple of years, the cumulative returns of different assets, among those, the equities have generated the maximum returns of 14.5, followed by the government securities, bank FD, and gold and inflation. So this is a very old data. That's why it's bank is providing 10.4. I hardly believe if bank is providing hard for 10.4 nowadays. I think it's around 2% or 3%, or maybe 6%. So I think so. Yeah. So that's a return provided by bank. Okay. So inflation is 6.8. Okay, so this is a very old data, but at least you will be getting a better understanding that equity still provides a better interest per rate of returns. Okay, so the most important question is market timing. Okay, for a mutual fund investment, does it matter? I have always given advice to my friends and colleagues that for a mutual fund investment, if you're following the systematic investment plan, the market timing doesn't matter at all. That is because the earlier you start, irrespective of whether the market is high or whether the market is at a very low valuation, the earlier you start with a mutual fund investment in SIP mode, that is the best thing that you can do to generate a good returns. So I'll give you an example here. Suppose an investor is investing 10,000 in equities, okay, for the 10 consecutive years, even though the market is at a peak valuation, okay. So the data shows from 1996 to 2006, okay, and if he is putting 10,000 every year, he is generating a compound annual returns of 10.7. Okay, so just mark this point 10.7, okay. And similarly, there is another person who is investing 10,000 in equities for 10 years, and when the market is low, so he generates 11.5. Okay, so the annualized return has increased for the second investor. So just remember these 2 points. Now, over long years, that means for a mutual fund, the plus point is that if you stay longer, the maximum you stay in the market with SIP continuing every month, the more chances of your money getting tripled or quadrupled is more. Okay, so that's the best thing this graph can say. The market timing doesn't matter. The more you stay in the market, the more returns you'll get it. So here is a graph. Here is a historical return that has been displayed for the market. So Sensex in 1978 was around 119, and 2005 it's around 9,000. So from rolling 1 year, if this is the return that I would have got, but if you are rolling for 10 years, then the same investment you would have got for this particular 202% returns. Okay, probability of loss is 0. So the moral of our today's session is that the market timing doesn't help. Okay, it is a time. Please note, it is a time in the market that matters. Okay, so the maximum time that you spend in the market with your SIP investment continuing, that is what matters. It doesn't matter whether what time you're entering, but as early as you enter into the share market with mutual fund investment SIP, the more returns you'll get it. Okay, so my advice is that do mutual funds in proper fund in SIP mode and never stop SIP is my advice to each and everyone. Okay, so thank you. That's what I wanted to share with you today. So it's about the timing in mutual fund market, whether timing matters or not. That's what I wanted to specify to you today. I'll come up with the next set of videos related to mutual fund in the coming days. And until we meet again, thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And happy investing. Thank you so much.